There were police just swarming around, and I'm like, wow. So when I get there, there's a whole complete scene. They got it yellow taped from my corner, my center, and the store next door. We were all taped. It's wild because I still haven't gotten what really happened. I know someone was shot. They were inside the store next door.
All right. Thanks for everyone for tuning into this episode. This is another special one because we're doing a community check-in with a previous organization that we've interviewed in the past. So, LaTanya, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you, Joe. Anytime for you. You already know.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. So, LaTanya Johnson is the Executive Director of LaTanya in the Youth of Englewood. And we've known each other for years now. And we just have a lot of collaborations that we've done. And I'm really excited to do this check-in with LaTanya to see how things have changed since we last spoke. But before we do, for new listeners that don't know much about LaTanya and LaTanya and the Youth of Englewood, LaTanya, please introduce yourself and share the mission of your organization.
Hello, everyone. My name is LaTanya Johnson. Excuse my voice. It's a little raspy because I do work with kids. Again, my name is LaTanya Johnson. I am the Executive Director of LaTanya and the Youth of Englewood. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We service children ages 5 and up, recreational activities, educational programming, mentorship, entrepreneurship, community events, family support, and we do it all for free. I've been doing this for 12 years now for the children in our community, with the children and their families in our community. So yeah, if I left anything out, please let me know.
Yeah, no, thank you for that background. So 12 years, it's a long time to be doing anything.
Yeah.
Share a little bit about why you and why this was something 12 years ago that you saw fill the need, and what was the initial inspiration for starting the organization?
So, there's violence everywhere you go, but during that time, it was really like it was kids getting, murdered and, shot as they do today. But I think that it calmed down a little bit more than it did back then. So I would just see, my children and their friends outside. And I'm just like, even when I was young, I'm like, man, the park district is blocks away. I couldn't walk down there. And so it was the same thing with my children because we lived in actually approximately the same area, which is Inglewood. I was born and raised in Inglewood. So was my children. And they would be outside with nothing to do. And it's like, maybe there's something because something just kept triggering me. It's like kids, you're always happy. You're always joyful. Give the kids, it's kids. It just kept seeing kids because they would come to my house. I had these little laptops and they would come and they will make music and do things. And I was just like, man, I'm like, I got to do something because they're here every day. You have food, something to drink. And they be like, hey, you got a snack? Of course.
Yeah, yeah.
And so what I did was I called the alderman's office. I've never met an alderman before because I felt they was famous, right? So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, someone told me that they was right in the community. And I actually put like a little small presentation together to actually explain to the alderman what I see and my thoughts of what is needed for the children in the community as well as the community itself, and I did that, went over to the office. She welcomed me with open arms, made Alderman Joanne Thompson rest peacefully. And she introduced me to everybody and I just kind of told them what my thoughts was and hey, maybe something that I can do. And so what she did was she put a youth summit together in Kennedy King College where she invited like the prisoners who were serving like 20 to 25 years and they were all chained by feet and hands, but they were there to tell their story and to encourage the kids to stay out of trouble, listen to your mom. And we were supposed to have Derrick Rose there, but of course that was the time he broke his leg or foot, whichever
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. And so that was during that time when she put that together. And then they also had Barbara Bates, which was a famous designer from Chicago who was also had a show on TV, and she came out and she made some of the eighth graders and the high schoolers who stood up. They actually made their suits and their dresses. So again, like, just to be able to, do something in my community and help the kids, that was my goal. That's what God said. That's what He said. He said it, and He's still clicking it in my brain today. So it'll be 13 years, and it's crazy because I actually started this June 19th, 2013. There was no Juneteenth back then. It's crazy
Mm-mm.
because I'm just like, wow, I like really did something because I actually started that June 19th,
Yeah,
20.
yeah. Yeah, that
Exactly.
definitely sounds like a little divination impact there at something. Like that's a little bit too coincidental.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And how so after so kids ages 5 plus, I guess first question is why was that kind of the target and initially? Is that just because it's after preschool or just like yeah, just after preschool when they're going to more formal education and needing after school programming?
No, it was because I feel like if we catch them early, before all the riffraff, and if we can just to continue to steer them in the right direction, along with their parents and other, as they call it, it takes a village. When there's a village, to be able to steer them in the right direction. So if we catch them young, we could kind of change their mind setting, right? Opposed to, I'm not going to even say you can't change a teenage man Satan, because you can
Mm,
if you show them, and if you actually show them the way that it's more to just violence out there, or and getting into stuff. It's more
mm,
positive things where you can help those and they can feel good about themselves. So if kids are hands on with things, you have a better chance of
yeah.
keeping them engaged,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But yeah, I feel like if you catch them young, we can
Yeah.
steer them away from all the rest of the stuff that the other kids caught. Even with the internet, kind of keeping them
Yep.
off the internet, kind of keeping them engaged with doing things with their hands again, you
Yeah.
know. So,
Yeah, I've had the privilege. This was years ago now, but I worked weekly and went to the Chicago Juvenile Temporary Detention Center and hung out with the kiddos every week for I don't know 3 or 4 years. And one of the observations I had was like I feel like mostly I've worked with boys. Mostly they
mhm,
needed either someone or something for the motivation factor and to latch onto. And the riffraff you mentioned, I feel like sometimes that fulfills some of that camaraderie to somebody, like a mentor to latch onto that they could look up to. And then there's the other option of something to do, whether it's creating music or whether it's being in nefarious activities that you get arrested for. So it's like a someone or something that I've kind of realized is what you need, what everyone as a human at a young age latches onto. So for example, the after school programming you do, it helps hopefully check that box of somebody, but also something like getting them involved in creating music or getting them involved in entrepreneurship or gardening or what have you. It just allowing them to get repetitions in things and experience things that maybe they wouldn't have experienced before that they can latch onto and they can use as an excuse when somebody comes and asks them to do something that might not be, that could get them in trouble. They
right,
could say, hey, I'm already doing this, or I'm already busy, or like I have a mentor that I really look up to that's on a better path. And so it sounds like that's something that you guys really work on providing for your kiddos.
absolutely,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Because I mean, again, they'll be in their phones. They're like, it's like a 24/7 phone. If we can get them to put the phones down,
Yeah, yeah.
keeping their attention as well. Like I said, some of them a little older. They want to put them beats on. They can't hear what you're saying, and sometimes I have to say, "Hey," because I have older children that's in high school too that comes to the center. I
Hmm.
have to say, "Hey, make sure you got the beat, one of the beats behind, because you want to hear if it's someone behind you, if it's a horn blowing. They can't even hear. So just trying to teach them about how to, be aware of their surroundings when you have these beats on. I don't wear headphones because back in our days we didn't have the headphone. Okay, I'm telling my age, but back in the
Yes,
day
yes.
we didn't have, those headphones on our ears like that. We had the beatbox and the jukeboxes, like, and it was we were able to be outside. These
Yeah.
today they're not so much able to be outside. So just keeping
Mm, mm.
them engaged in a positive environment. And like I said, kids are bored. I will get bored if you're
Yeah.
talking me to death. It's a hands-on thing. People have to know when you're dealing with youth, they have to see something that they created, and it has to be an interest. I always ask,
Mm.
"Hey, what would y'all like to do? What would y'all like to create? What is it that y'all would like to do? Oh, we would like to do this." So we're gonna do we're gonna do Easter baskets, but we'll get into that when you ask during the time. But again, just to see the creation of things that they created, it makes them feel good. Even down to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
teenagers where today is okay, I want to work. How can I work and work? So those things. But I always put youth
Yeah.
to work every year. As long as we got the funding and stuff like that, I can definitely put them to work. Other than that, they do a lot of, I have a lot of youth that does volunteering too. And then when I get, our hands on some funding, then I always give them something to show my appreciation because half of them, they kind of just be like, okay, well, if you ain't got the funding, we still want to be there. We still want to be there. And that's just keeping them
Yep.
engaged, involved in a positive environment. So
Yeah. Yeah. What activities that you've done over 12 years have you seen as having the most positive impact in checking those boxes of it provides an activity that somebody could really get passionate about and turn into their thing, or it's somebody that really has kind of changed the trajectory of this kiddo's life because of an inspirational conversation? What are some of those things that you've seen be most impactful? Because I'm sure, like, obviously, jobs are really important. They're busy work. You get them paid. But I'm wondering if there are jobs maybe that are inspiring that get people onto a career work development path. What has been some of those really impactful activities that you've kind of experienced that have the most impact? Would you say?
I say gardening, building. They built
Mm.
those little two-seaters, the one-seater from back in the days where you take the 2x4s and you put the wheels on the side, the go-karts. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we built two of those. We trying to finish building them because we got two. We just got to get the wheels and everything. So building those. I have those who likes to take pictures. So we had cameras where they went out and took pictures. And we do have a photographer who, one of our youth who went on and did photography. And like I said, building, we got one that works at Home Depot's warehouse. So he works at Home Depot warehouse to this day, who's been to college. And so my college students still come around. So,
Mm.
just being able to create whatever it is they want to create. And again, I always ask, but we have to get them out those phones. It's
Mm. Yeah.
We gotta get them out those phones because again, at home, and it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying that the kids when they're at home, it's like, hey, you done with your homework. Now you're on your phone. You're on your phone for 3, 4 hours. I think it's just mind blowing
Yeah.
to be on the
Yeah.
phone that long and that time. Like they definitely need some activities. Some of them like to play basketball. They do.
Yep.
So I do have to get basketball rims, for them. But we do go to Ogden Park, which is my number one park. And I take
Hmm.
the boys and I let them play basketball. So that's something that they really want to do. I definitely want to create some type of team because they really want to play. So just, those are like some of the things that I could think of off the top of my head of things that the youth are still doing, to this day. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned that sometimes it's hard for the kiddos to get outside. Is that more of a weather thing, or is that more of like a safety thing or a preference thing? They want to be on their phones, or what have you seen as kind of been led to that trend?
So more of a safety.
Hmm.
Safety is key to everything. Just recently, last Friday, me and the children, because I pick up the kids. I drop the kids off at school. I pick them up from school and I bring them over to the center. Those who ride with me, they come over to the center. There's a school across the street from me where the other kids come from the school across the street and they come over to me. But as we pulled up, there were police everywhere.
Mm.
And it was great. It's wild because one of my parents was sitting, which is my daughter, because my grandbabies come there too. And she was sitting and she was waiting on us. to pull up. And she just said there were police just swarming around. And I'm like, wow. So when I get there, there's a whole complete scene. They got it yellow taped from my corner, my center, and the store next door. We were all taped.
Mm.
It's it's wild because I still haven't gotten what really happened. I know someone was shot. They were
Mm.
inside the store next door, right, completely next door to me, just like
Jeez.
you on me, like me and you on the screen, right next door. So I still don't know what happened. So I just keep them on the inside.
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
if I do
Yep.
decide to go to a park and it's nice outside, we'll go over to Ogden Park. Or we'll go and we'll play over there. So, but since Friday, we actually canceled the after school on Friday because the school was locked down until like 4 o'clock or something. So it was locked down because of the shooting. But we closed down on Friday because I didn't want to have the kids in that environment in that moment. I wasn't sure if there was still the shooter was going to come back and do whatever whatever it was. But I wanted to make sure that the kids went home with their mom to where they were safe.
Yep.
So and then we freshly opened back up Monday.
Yeah. Yeah. I, I I feel like curiosity here, and this is I've worked with a lot of nonprofits in Chicago, all over east, south, north side, west side, not east because that's the lake. But one of the I guess you could say ignorant questions I would have is, for I think every family and every parent that has kids has a different like risk threshold as to like this area or the location I'm in is either too risky. I'm not comfortable living here, having my kids here. But at the same time, maybe my job is here. Maybe the cost of living is the only spot I could be in. Like as a parent and a kid that's been born in Englewood and raised there and lived there, and maybe it's just like this is our part of Chicago. Like this is home. How have you seen that with parents evolve, and like that constant battle that I'm sure parents play in their head of like staying close to opportunity and staying in your hometown versus maybe going somewhere with less risk of something like that happening? And I do air quotes because I think yesterday somebody was shot in Rogers Park on the north side by Loyola. One of a Loyola student was killed, which is crazy. And so I'm just wondering, how have you seen that just internal battle with parents play out, and like how do you just work through that as a parent, and how have you seen that work through?
Whereas poverty all day long. I mean, the parents
Yeah.
they work. You got lights, gas. You got things you got to pay, and then everything is steady going up. It's all
Yep.
going up, the cost of food, the cost of lights, the cost of this, the cost of that. So of course, them living from paycheck to paycheck, sometimes their paychecks don't even meet everything.
Yep.
They don't. They just try their hardest. And if I can connect them with some resources that can help them benefit, maybe the light bill or maybe some type of bill to help them out, I give coats and things like that when I see the kids, and I know they mom's struggling. I do know.
Yep.
There are struggling moms, and the reason why they do live in the area is because that's what they could afford.
Yep. Yep.
You got
So you
three
see,
kids to take care
yeah.
of, you got to feed them, you got to clothe them. Kids want to go out, they want to do things, they want stuff from So again, it's the cost of living.
Yeah.
Their jobs
Yeah.
are not paying you. You're still doing minimum wage. You got 10 cent here, 12 cent there, 15 cent. By the time you get your check, the taxes took all that. So
Yep.
it's still a struggle. You're still struggling from day to day. You know, some parents would like to get out of Inglewood and maybe take their kids and over to another community. And then you got some that says, "Hey, this is my community,
Yeah.
and
This
this
is
is how
home.
it
Yeah.
be.
Yep.
This is what I know. And I've survived this long. I'm gonna
Yep.
continue. I'll be okay. Ain't nobody after me. No one is doing nothing to me. I go to work. I come home. And my kids go to school. So you have a few different ways of reasoning for
Yeah.
them. Living there and wanting to be there. You
Yep.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's really, really frustrating and angering and sad and unfortunate that parents like have to like make that trade-off, and have to have that reasoning even a thing that they're thinking about, right? So yeah, very tough situation. So the kiddos, I the the activities that you're seeing in the future, what programming are you trying to continue to evolve or maybe test out or bring back that you want to kind of reintroduce to the kiddos for the next 12 years, I'd say.
I like that. I like that. I'm claiming it. Thank you, Joseph. Just, I think art is amazing and things that
Mm,
they can do and create with their hands because I was a part of another group where they came in and they brought the art supplies and they did, and they probably had their own little snacks that they brought in for the kids as well. They did some art projects where the kids were able to do things and take them back home. A basketball group, if there's anybody out there that's saying, hey, I want to put a basketball group together, even young people. These ain't got to be older people, high
yep.
schoolers, college students. We're looking for someone to create that basketball team. I have high school boys who want to play ball, who really, really want to play ball.
Mm,
And these kids, these high schoolers are kids that have been with me since they were 6, 7 years old. So they're now high schoolers.
yeah, yeah.
The girls like dance. So I just had two of my youth when I was on 60th and Halsted. So, and they went to Johnson College Prep. And they used to dance with the girls that they see now that stands about 5'11" over them now. They were so shocked to see still with me because a lot of the kids are still with me from 5 all the way up.
Hmm.
And so their dance group, I got my youth back that I had back then. So they teach dance. We want to try to get uniforms. So I feel like if we doing things to have, if these projects and things like that we create, I think that kids should feel good. They should have uniforms that go with these things.
Yeah.
You dancing, they want to put the little stuff on. The boys, they want to play basketball. They should have on little, jersey with the, shorts and just to, they will feel so good. People don't know. It's just all about making them feel they're gonna want to play ball. They're gonna be ready. Like, oh yeah, we gotta do a fundraiser to get our next, jerseys or the next. It's all about creating the
Yeah.
real life of dance, football. I mean basketball, football. Whatever that looks like. So just like I said, it's just a few things. And if anybody else have any, things that they would like to bring, to me, print it out. Let's talk about it. Let's bring more projects in. The kids need everybody. They
Yep.
need
Yep.
everybody.
Yeah. And I think experiencing so many different types of activities is important because every kiddo, different things probably land differently with different kiddos. Like some kids might really like art and drawing or painting or creating music or ballet
Mm,
or basketball or
yeah,
volleyball. I'm a little biased with
yeah,
volleyball, but yeah, so
yeah,
like being able to
yes,
experience a lot of the different options in STEM and sports, et cetera, is important because things speak differently to kids. And, we have the future CEOs potentially and presidents potentially. So like we need them to be exposed to as many different activities as possible, right?
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, this is exciting. Where can people find you? And people that are listening that want to get engaged, what type of engagement do you look for?
Basically, just reaching out, having a conversation just to figure out how we can connect, just to see what their, line of work is. If it lines with mine, what we do, then, I'm looking to connect, and it's all about just reaching out and making things happen. I don't know how hard it is, but I
Yes.
really look forward to more people, just connecting with more people who have great resources for children.
Yep. Yep. And then ways to communicate with you, social media or website or phone, what's the easiest way?
So they can email me at LaTanyaJ703 at gmail.com. We also have a number 312-983-2855. We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, and we be on Facebook sometimes. It'd be a lot on Facebook, but we be on there. But a lot of times I post TikTok for the kids because they like to TikTok all the time. So we do a lot of TikTok posting. Our website is LaTanya and the Youth of Englewood.org. And we're located at 344 West 75th Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60621 in the Inglewood community. Don't be afraid. I'm open to showing you around, and come out and meet the kids. Bring a snack, but
Yes.
meet the kids. They're really wonderful kids.
Wow. Well, Tanya, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It was great reconnecting with you, and we're excited to share this story again and get you reconnected with more people out there. But thanks you for the work that you're doing, and really looking forward to getting this out there.
Thank you so much, Joseph. I appreciate you all too as well.
All right. Thank you. Good luck. Talk to you soon.
You're welcome. Have a great one, guys.